Hi, happy Sunday. My name is Julia Klein, and thank you for joining me for this video series, which is all about how to get, have, be, and do all it is that you want in your life by closely examining what it is that's stopping you. And today we are going to talk about affirmative prayer, which is a term that you might not be familiar with, but it's this whole idea of setting an intention, declaring, this is what I want, this is how it is, I am now manifesting, I'm now creating it. And there's a variety of different ways of creating that, doing that. There's a variety of different practices around that. And for any of us who have ever gotten into action with the intention of creating our life, making something happen, manifesting our desires, we've sometimes undoubtedly had the experience of having it not come to pass. And what can unfortunately happen when we set a firm intention, we say, this is what I'm creating, this is what I want, and then it doesn't happen, we tend to throw out the window the whole process of intentional creation, thinking, oh, that didn't work. That's baloney. That's, And I had, for myself, a really powerful set of experiences this afternoon around this whole topic. And this is what we're going to talk about today. It started, I was at my spiritual center, my church, this afternoon, and we were having a community meeting about what's going on with our building. And in a nutshell, there is some dispute over whether we are able to stay in our building or not. And it has gotten to the level that it's litigation at this point. And so the discussion was all about, well, we've taken these steps, but now we need to wait and see what happens in the courts. And what bubbled up inside of me, and which I said out loud, is, people, we are not at effect of our circumstances here. We need to align ourselves with what it is we want. This is our decision to make. It is not up to the courts to decide. It is not up to our landlord to decide. It is up to us. Once we align our desires with a clear intention, this is who we are, this is who we are being, this is how we are growing and manifesting in the world, everything in the universe around us will come vibrationally into alignment with those desires of ours and make it so in the physical world. And everybody kind of looked at me like, okay. And what I realized, and two parts to this. First of all, I want to use that exact example that I was talking about to identify some of the ways in which our intentions are sometimes not enough, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But also, this example of this ongoing dispute with this building and so forth is one thing. But I realized shortly after the words left my mouth that I was speaking not just to our spiritual community and the governing body, the 10 people sit on the board whose decision it is to make all these things happen, but I was speaking to myself. I realized as I was saying it, I said, this is our decision to make. Once we decide what it is we want, filter through all these nuances and possibilities and whatever, get to the heart of this is what we want, and then become firmly aligned with it, the universe will fall into place. And I realized, there's a couple areas of my life where I need to hear that for myself. And I would imagine that all of you watching have a couple of areas of your life in which you need to hear that for yourselves. Not because it's the first time you've ever heard it. Maybe it is, but in all likelihood, this is not the first time you've ever heard the notion that you can intentionally create your own life. All you need to do is become clear with your intention. And that's where I want to talk about why it sometimes doesn't work, or what stops us, what gets in our way. And I'm going to use, first of all, the example that I was describing with my spiritual center in our building. And because in response to my statement, like, we just need to decide what we want, people, some of them, there were two key responses. One response was, agreed, and there's a whole due process. We need to go through the court system. We need to explore our options, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I.e., what I heard in that piece of feedback was, we're working on it. We haven't yet determined clearly, decisively, what it is we want in totality. And the second piece of feedback was, we've decided. We exercised our right of first refusal. We've determined we want to buy this building. That's our decision. We've made up our minds. We are in clear intention. And it relates to the first piece of feedback, which is, we're still trying to figure it out. And it relates to how all of us meet resistance, shall I say, in our own lives when we set a clear intention. In my life, my example is, I have set the clear intention that I am teaching a 6-week training or 6-month training program. And yet, the 6-month training program is not coming together. It's not gelling in a way that I feel like, yes, the fruition and manifestation of my desires. And I have found myself in the back of my head thinking, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? These couple of people who I've talked to about registering, are they gonna? Are they not? And I have found myself falling into the understandable pattern of thinking, well, it's not up to me. I need to wait and see what happens. Or even if it's with my own actions, well, am I going to feel like writing the sales copy? Am I going to feel like doing a big email blast to my list about it? Well, that's up to me to decide. This is what I'm going to do. But now here's the second piece to this. And that's where, back with the building, they said, we decided we're buying the building. We're exercising our right to buy the building. And so I've decided I'm teaching a 6-month program. But there's nuance behind the edges. So back with the building, the various boards of directors expressed their varying opinions on this. And for example, a couple of people said, this is a huge space. I'm not sure that we really need this much space. We have 150 people coming on a Sunday. This is a space that holds 500 people. Perhaps we should release this to the universe so that somebody can more effectively use the space and us go find something different. Other people expressed, this is a beautiful building, but it's 100 years old. It's got issues. We've got these repairs we need to make. There's ways in which it's not perfect for us. Then there was other issues expressed around, we're thinking this is something we want to buy this building because it's such a good deal. But do we want to be motivated by that? I mean, we're a spiritual community after all. In other words, while sure, on the surface, we had made a decision, we had set the intention, we want to buy this building, we've exercised our right of first refusal, there was all kinds of wobbly, wishy-washy stuff around the edges about like, well, do we really want to? In my life, the 6-month program that I'm teaching, I've declared I'm teaching a 6-month program, and here's what it is. And at one point, I got all excited, so I'm going to teach it. And as I notice it not coming into full fruition, I have to examine, well, why not? What else is not clear? And I put myself through a questioning process this afternoon, and I realized that a couple of things. First of all, there is a part of me that thinks, oh God, really 6 months? Do I want to be locked into a 6-month program? Then there's another part of me that said that this is the bigger part of me that was feeling as if I was taking on a tremendous amount of responsibility, that I was promising people who registered for this program that their lives were going to change and that I was going to change their lives. Well, that's crazy, right? Of course I can't do that. But to the extent that that had begun to seep in ways that I hadn't even noticed into my belief system, well, naturally I was in resistance, right? On an unconscious level, I was unconsciously thinking, the people who are going to sign up for this 6-month program, I'm going to change their lives in powerful ways. And then another part of me was like, no, you're not. And that's too much responsibility, and so on and so forth. So I had I have been having this push-pull going on. And so I invite you to and then one more piece that I wanted to bring out to all of this is that theoretically, the solution to this is to this issue of making a statement of intentional creation is to fully know now everything that I want, and to have a full knowledge and awareness of, first of all, what it is that I want, what are my desires. Second of all, what are all of the options for the fulfillment of those desires. And the fact is, neither of those are true, can ever be true. And as one of the people on the board kept saying, there's an infinite number of possibilities that this situation can resolve itself. I mean, sure, one way is that we could stay here in the building, but and because part of the objection to leaving and going to a different building is, oh, it's going to be so expensive. And the board member was making the argument, says who? Maybe not. It is not unheard of in the history of spiritual communities for a community to be gifted with a location by some wealthy benefactor. It's possible. It is within the realm of possibility. But it's also beyond the scope of our limited imaginations. And within the context of my program as well, as I realized that parts of what I am putting forth in this program are a reflection of things that I'm actually creating in my own life. And so part of me, it's like, and I've acknowledged this full on to the people who have registered for the program, that I'm going to be doing this with you. That there's, it's a program of kind of self-discovery and discovering one's value as a business owner, and discovering the value of your products and services, and going on to into an exploration of how to communicate that value in such a way that people are drawn to you. And I've said, I'm going to my next level within my business. I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing it right along with you. It's part of the reason why I'm offering this program, is because this is work that I need to do in my life. So let's do it together. And in order to, like I said, in order to make a firm stand and say, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm drawing in, it implies that you're omniscient, which of course no human is. And so the best that we can hope for, the ideal for us to shoot for, is to have a clear understanding of the feelings that we are hoping to evoke and to experience. And in other words, to create an outline or a rough draft or a sketch that closely resembles our desires, but that allows for details to be filled in around the edges, or even fundamentally up through the middle, in ways that we couldn't possibly have conceived of. And that's the trick, right? To elicit from within ourselves, this is what I want, especially when this is what I want feels or sounds on the surface like something ain't gonna happen. Like when you feel as if you want two things which appear to be polar opposites or in direct contradiction to one another. It's a paradox, right? Well, I want this thing, but that's in direct opposite. I want to stay and I want to go. It seems as though both can't be possible at the same time. However, it is my experience that when you allow yourself to presence the totality of your desires, amazing things happen as far as what manifests in the physical world. So don't know what's going to happen with my building over at my spiritual center, and don't know what's going to happen as far as the 6-month program and how that's going to come into the world. I suppose that in this moment, you don't know, watching this video, what is going to happen next in your world. With the things that you are creating, with your magnificent power of intentional creation of your life. But I hope that some of the questions and issues that I've raised in this short little video have been helpful. So if you've enjoyed this, please come on over to the blog at intuitivebusinesswoman.com, where you can see lots more things like this. You can also find me on YouTube, where I do these videos. You can also find me on Periscope. You can find me on Facebook. I'm all over the place. And I sure would love any comments and feedback And of course, please share if you enjoyed this and you know somebody who would enjoy this message. Spread the love. Thank you very much. Make it a great day.